Hello, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, and I'm going to tell you about SounDigital amplifiers, some of the noise issues we have with them when we pair them with aftermarket radios. I'm also going to give you a little history on the 2 years now that we've been selling Soundstream radios and everything they've done to make their radios better and better without ever raising the cost to you. Watch this video. I'm going to give you a little history and tell you how you can make your SounDigital amps sound even better. All right, so I'm gonna start this video off with some sound or noise issues that we had a lot of customers experience with SounDigital amplifiers. Now the problem was with the amplifier, and I wanna demonstrate that to you and try to explain it before I show you what the solution was. First off, I've got a little SounDigital 404. These amps are super popular in the motorcycle world because they're really powerful in a really small size. We don't normally use them at Volunteer Audio because we don't much care for some of the noise issues, the high distortion rate, and the high failure rate that we see with them. And we want to make sure that whatever we sell you lasts for a long time. But we got in the middle of a mess because we sell awesome radios, and a lot of you had already spent money on these amps, so I'm going to show you how to use these amplifiers and get better sound out of them. Now the issue we have is that SounDigital, anytime you're running an RCA cable into it, like this, these are what we call common ground RCAs. I'm going to demonstrate what it is. When I connect this together, it's going to beep. The outside of every RCA sheath on this amp are all connected together. What that means is it's called a common ground amp. The negative side of the RCA is connected on all four of those RCA barrels. Now, if you've got a modern radio like the Soundstream radio, they have what we call differential outputs, meaning all of those negatives are actually a separate channel out of the radio. Now in the 80s, when we had Class A, B amplifiers and everybody's putting them in their cars and trying to figure out why they had engine noise, this was the main culprit. As time went on, we got digital amplifiers. Class D, we got radios with MOSFET chips with Class D amps in those. And as that happened, everything went differential and those noise issues, for the most part, went away. We used to try to buy better and better RCA cables, chasing down, adding extra grounds, trying to get rid of noises, and this was the issue. Now most amp companies have moved past that. They're using new technology and we don't have those problems. Well, you know, people like Soundstream, Hertz, the Precision Power line that Soundstream has, it's all differential. So we don't have issues with noise out of those. And most of the amps used in the Harley world don't use RCA anyways. Most of the plug and play kits are all speaker level in. So when these radios came out and people started hooking it up and we started getting noises, we had to try to figure out what to do about it. How do you fix somebody's amplifier that they already have? Well, 2 years in, and it's not even been a full 2 years, probably about a year and a half in, we've now got 4 radios instead of 1 from Soundstream. We have the HDHU 14 Plus, the original, and then we have the very much so upgraded, higher feature set HDHU 14 SI. And then they backed up and they gave us 2 radios for you guys with the older box, those 98 to 13 models, whether that be the Roadglide or the Streetglide. These have been great radios, and what we've seen them do is they've tried to address these issues by adding new circuits, by redesigning circuit boards, and what they've done is they went from a standard circuit board to a 4-layer circuit board and added additional circuits to take this shorting, because all you're doing when you plug your radio up to this is shorting the radio and it creates weird squeals and squelches and problems. They have put circuits in place to take care of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate here in a second. We're going to fire up our bike. And I've put an older radio, one of the old 14 Pluses with the original board in it, and then I'm going to let you hear the noise. I'm then going to connect the newer SI. So the first SIs that shipped didn't have this board. It's very expensive to fully redesign things. But they did step up and do that. Soundstream decided they were going to try to take care of this issue. Even though it wasn't their problem, they want you to have a better experience. And we've seen time and time again in the last 2 years, there have been many things they have addressed and made better and better. And anytime we've had anything that caused a failure, they've stood behind the products. Excellent. I'll touch base on that a little bit more, so keep watching past this so I can tell you more about some of the other things that happened and the way they've addressed it and why Volunteer Audio is very proud and going to continue to sell the Soundstream radios. All right, so let's go to our bike. I'm going to fire it up with the old radio. I want you to hear this noise, and then I'm going to put the new SI in place. All we're going to do is swap radios and let you see how that noise is no longer there. All right, so I can hear this noise right now. I've got a radio on. I'm running a SounDigital 800.4, one of the most common amplifiers they have. It's Evo X2, which has high level input or RCA. And for most of you guys, what we did was we recommended you go to high level input, and it took care of this noise. But we're connected RCA, so I can demonstrate the issue and talk about what it takes to fix it. I'm gonna take my mic off. I'm gonna bring it down close to one of these speakers and let you hear what I'm talking about a little louder. All right, so now when you have additional LED lights, from LED light drivers to it's running and the stator on these are a little noisy, these noises can become even worse. Sometimes they're almost overpoweringly high-pitched squeals, and it's coming from that short, because you basically short-circuited the back of the radio by plugging your differential RCAs into your common ground RCA amplifier. They're not supposed to work together, but so many people don't understand, they just plug them up. Now also, if you have super tweeters, those very bright compression horn tweeters, you're going to hear this even more, so it's going to be way, way louder than what I just demonstrated. I'm going to unplug this 14 Plus. All I'm going to do is swap over to an SI. I've got Bluetooth up, and we just have the volume turned down so that it's got the amp powered up and you're picking up all these weird squelches. I'm going to do the same thing with the other radio to show you that it's gone. All right, so now I've put the new HDHU14 SI. I've connected it up the exact same way we had the 14 Plus. Connected via RCA, bike's on, amps powered up, still the same SounDigital 804. We've done nothing to the gains. We've left it all right where it was. We've got Bluetooth connected, and we've got the radio turned all the way down. That simulates as much possible floor noise. If we turn it up and we have music playing, you hear less of this. But I think what you'll find out is we don't have any noise. We have what I would call a very, very small amount of floor noise. Now I've got this amp gained pretty well all the way up, way higher than it probably needs to be to try to show you as much noise as possible, but this radio is so quiet that I can't really audibly hear it. Floor noise is a term that I want to try to explain. Anytime you have a phone connected via Bluetooth, your phone is sending some noise to the radio even when something's paused or turned down. So with this track being paused, we have just a little bit of that phone electrical noise. You also get the same thing from things like everything in the bike that's powered on, that's pulling electricity from the battery, generates just a little bit of noise, and we call it floor noise. You never have perfect silence through an amplifier, and there's an amp on here, that SounDigital 800.4. So I wanted to show you that they're listening. The guys at Soundstream, the people who design and build these radios, they're listening to every complaint, everything we ever tell them, and they do whatever it takes to fix it and make it better. And so they're continually making these things better and better. And over the last 2 years, we've seen several things that happen. First, we'll go all the way back. I've seen some guys, I mean, right now, the reason I really want to tell you about all these things is there's a couple other companies talking about making some radios. I'm going to call them copy and paste radios. They're not new. They're not things that we didn't have before. They're simply radios where they copied what Soundstream's doing. Now, Soundstream, I think, is far ahead of them, and I want to explain why, and some of the things we may go through as we see these other radios come out on the market. The very, very first run of these radios, the ones that were made in November of 2021, in that very first batch, a few of the radios had a seal issue in this bottom corner of the screen. It was an issue in manufacturing. It wasn't a design flaw, it was a manufacturing flaw that was very quickly caught, and before the second production of radios was done, it was fixed. But those very, very first radios, some of them allowed water to get through a crack down here because it didn't seal properly. When that happened over time, the LED backlight module failed in those radios, and they ended up with a dark screen. Now, when they had this black screen, you still had sound, your touch screen still worked, you still had buttons that lit up, just the screen didn't illuminate. Well, before we even knew it was a problem, they had seen the flaw in production, they had already fixed it, and with the 2-year warranty that's included in all of these radios, anybody who had that failure, we were able to very, very quickly take care of. Soundstream only wants us to take care of our customers. They don't put a bunch of roadblocks in place to try to keep you from getting it replaced. You just reach out to the dealer you got it from, which a lot of people reached out to us that had that problem, and we quickly took care of it. And at Volunteer Audio, we even covered the shipping to and from, so you didn't have to pay any shipping. All those radios by now have been more than replaced or took care of, and every radio after that didn't have the problem. So the SGs, the RGs, the SIs, they never had a seal issue. The 14 pluses, all the ones that were made March and later, because they did a production run in November, the next one happened in March, all the ones that happened March and later did not have that issue. It was corrected. I've seen them very proactively. If you remember, the very, very first run of these that came out had a noise. We're going to call it a digital noise or clock noise that could come up from a beep issue. If you turn the beep off in the radio, it generated a noise in software. And as soon as I showed them that was an issue, if you go back to our old videos 2 years ago, you'll see where they did a software update. And we had a software update within a week of showing them the problem. They had us a solution. Now, a lot of other companies we talk to and we show them there's an issue in a radio, they just kind of ignore us because, I mean, what do we know? We're just a small retailer. We've seen at Soundstream over and over, every single thing we've brought up has been so proactive and so quick to take care of anything. It's been amazing. It's a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of other companies. It's one of the reasons you've seen us so many times continue to support this brand. Every new product they come out with, we show you because we know the people that are making it really care about you and the end result. Now, like I say, there's a couple other brands. We're going to call them copy and paste brands. I'm not going to mention them by name, but they're 2 years behind at least. And as they have problems, we're going to see how they address them. But we're going to continue to support and stand behind Soundstream because we know they're building an excellent product. We've sold thousands of these radios now, thousands. And the number of defects have been extremely low, and I would say well under 1% have had any kind of issues. The reason I say 1% is most of the radio companies, you know, the big names that you've heard of forever, these Japanese manufacturers, they try to be less than 3% in failures. So when we see a company way under 1%, in that crazy, harsh environment that a Harley Davidson is, between water, between vibration, between all the things you know you put it through, and don't forget, you turn it all the way up and you leave it there for hours on end. To see these radios hold up like that, we're super impressed. And at Volunteer Audio, we care about you, and it makes it so much better when the companies that you're dealing with also care about the customers. Because together, we can make sure you have an excellent experience. We can make sure that you're happy, and long term, when you get your next bike, you're going to call us again and want to upgrade to the next Soundstream product they've come out with. Now, very soon, we've got a new radio. It's called V2. V2's coming out very soon, and it added every feature anybody has ever asked. I know that the guys at Soundstream, they took about a year, and they listened to everything that somebody asked for and said they wish the radio did, and they've put it all in this one radio. And very soon, we'll have a new video coming out where we go over every one of those features. I'm excited about it. But I want you to know, all the existing radios, if these feature sets meet your needs, they're awesome. And at the price point, you can't beat the radio you're going to get. V2 is going to come out at a much higher price point, but it's going to add a lot of new features. So thank you for watching. I just wanted to take a second and talk about Soundstream, the things they've done to make the radios better over the last 2 years, the software updates that took place, the manufacturing updates that took place, the circuit boards they completely redesigned to fix problems that weren't even caused by them, but by people using old, antiquated technology. And at Volunteer Audio, like I said, we're proud to be an authorized online dealer for Soundstream. We want your business, we want to make sure we take care of you, and they make sure that it's really easy for us to always do the right thing. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely subscribe to Volunteer Audio to find out the latest about Harley Audio as it comes out, including that new V2 radio that we'll have a video on out really soon. Like this video, share it with others, comment below if you have any questions, if you have any concerns. If there's something you think I didn't answer, definitely put it below. If you had an issue, maybe you had the black screen issue and we quickly took care of it, comment below. Let us know about your experience. Tell us how easy it was when Volunteer Audio took care of the issue you had and how that your new radio hasn't had any problems since. We'd love to see those comments as well. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, God bless.